With Cynthia finally out of the picture, Daniel and Adanna could breathe. The victory was sweet, but the scars of the battle remained. Sitting in their living room, Daniel exhaled deeply. It still feels unreal. Adanna smiled, pouring him a cup of tea. We fought hard for this moment. The news channels buzzed with Cynthia's downfall, her name now synonymous with fraud and manipulation. Some sympathized with her, claiming she was only playing the game of survival, while others called for her prosecution. Either way, her reign was over. Daniel's company had suffered under Cynthia's schemes, but with his name cleared, investors slowly returned. Adanna, too, began making plans to relaunch her boutique, this time on her own terms. Do you ever wonder what's next for us? Adanna asked one evening. Daniel took her hand, his eyes warm. I know one thing, we're in this together. Just as things began to settle, Daniel received a call from an unknown number. He hesitated before answering. Daniel, the voice was low but familiar. It was Cynthia. His grip on the phone tightened. What do you want? I may be down, but I'm not out, she said coldly. You think you've won. This isn't over. Daniel's jaw clenched. Your threats mean nothing anymore. Cynthia laughed softly. We'll see about that. The line went dead. Daniel turned to Adanna, his face hard with concern. She's not done yet. Adanna squared her shoulders. Neither are we. The weeks that followed were a test of resilience. Cynthia might have lost in court, but her influence still lingered in places Daniel and Adanna least expected. Some of Daniel's deals were mysteriously delayed, and whispers of his alleged wrongdoings surfaced in the business community again. Meanwhile, Adanna's boutique launch faced unexpected obstacles. Permits that should have been approved were suddenly put on hold, suppliers pulled out last minute, and social media accounts tied to her business received anonymous threats. It didn't take long for them to piece it together. Cynthia was working in the shadows. But this time, Daniel and Adanna refused to play defense. We go on the offensive, Daniel declared. We finish this once and for all. Adanna met his determined gaze. Let's end her games for good. Daniel and Adanna knew Cynthia's reach extended into powerful circles, so they needed an ironclad plan. They called in every favor, reaching out to those willing to stand against her. Their first move was to expose her latest manipulations. They compiled evidence, emails, messages, and testimonies from people Cynthia had pressured. Then, they arranged an emergency press conference. This woman has not only defrauded companies but continues to sabotage honest businesses, Daniel told the press. Adanna displayed proof of the threats her boutique had received. The backlash was immediate. The business community turned against Cynthia, cutting ties with her. Investors withdrew, and her last allies abandoned her. Enraged, Cynthia made a desperate attempt to salvage her power, bribing officials to delay investigations into her illegal dealings. But Daniel and Adanna anticipated her move and had already tipped off the authorities. By the end of the week, Cynthia was arrested on new charges of obstruction of justice and fraud. This time, there was no escape. As Daniel and Adanna watched the news report, he turned to her. It's really over now. Adanna smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. Now we can truly start our future. With the battle behind them, Daniel and Adanna focused on rebuilding their lives. The stress of the past months had taken its toll, but their love remained steadfast. One evening, Daniel surprised Adanna with a candlelit dinner on their rooftop. The city lights twinkled around them as a soft breeze carried the scent of roses. Adanna laughed. You really outdid yourself. Daniel took her hands in his. After everything we've been through, I never want to take us for granted. You are my strength, my partner, my everything. Tears shimmered in Adanna's eyes. And you are mine. As they clinked glasses, a new chapter in their love story truly began. With Cynthia gone, Daniel's business thrived again. Investors returned, and he expanded his company beyond Lagos, setting up partnerships across Nigeria. Adanna's boutique finally launched, and the opening day was a resounding success. Customers flooded in, admiring her unique designs, and fashion bloggers praised her work. One evening, as they celebrated their respective successes, Daniel turned to Adanna. "I have one more surprise." He pulled out a small velvet box and opened it to reveal a sparkling diamond ring. "We've fought battles, faced storms, and come out stronger. I don't want to wait any longer, Adanna. Will you marry me?" Adanna gasped, her heart racing. "Yes. 1,000 times, yes." As they embraced, the past faded away, leaving only the promise of a bright future ahead. The day of Daniel and Adanna's wedding arrived, filled with laughter, love, and the scent of fresh roses. The ceremony was held in a grand hall in Victoria Island, Lagos, adorned with white and gold decor. Family and friends gathered to celebrate their union, a testament to the battles they had won together. Adanna, dressed in an elegant lace gown, walked down the aisle with her father by her side. Her heart pounded with happiness as she met Daniel's gaze at the altar. He looked dashing in a tailored navy blue suit, his smile radiating love and pride. When the officiant declared them husband and wife, the hall erupted in cheers. As they sealed their vows with a kiss, Adanna knew she had found her forever. Daniel whisked Adanna away to the exotic beaches of Zanzibar for their honeymoon. The turquoise waters and golden sunsets provided the perfect backdrop for their new beginning. "Can you believe we are finally here?" Adanna asked as they strolled hand in hand along the shoreline. Daniel pulled her close. "I always knew we would get here, no matter what." They spent their days exploring the island, indulging in local delicacies, and dancing under the moonlight. With every passing moment, their love grew deeper, free from the shadows of the past. As they lay beneath a starlit sky on their final night, Adanna whispered, "This is just the beginning." Daniel kissed her forehead. "The best is yet to come." Returning to Lagos, Daniel and Adanna settled into their married life. Adanna expanded her boutique, gaining recognition in the Nigerian fashion industry. Daniel's company thrived, opening new offices across Africa. One evening, as they sat on their balcony, Adanna hesitated before speaking. "Daniel, I have news." He turned to her, curiosity in his eyes. "What is it?" A smile spread across her lips. "We are going to be parents." Daniel's eyes widened before he swept her into his arms, laughter and joy filling the air. Their love story had come full circle, and a new journey was about to begin. The news of Adanna's pregnancy filled their home with excitement. Daniel became even more attentive, ensuring she had everything she needed. Their families rejoiced, showering them with love and advice. Adanna's cravings were unpredictable. One minute, she wanted suya with extra pepper, and the next, she was craving mangoes with honey. Daniel indulged every request, eager to make her happy. At work, Adanna began delegating more responsibilities, preparing for the time she would need to rest. Daniel, too, balanced his workload, determined to be present for every moment of their journey to parenthood. One afternoon, Adanna and Daniel visited the hospital for their first ultrasound. As the doctor pointed to the tiny flickering heartbeat on the screen, tears welled in Adanna's eyes. Daniel squeezed her hand, overwhelmed with emotion. "That's our baby," he whispered in awe. Adanna nodded, her heart swelling with love. "Yes, our little miracle." As Adanna's belly grew, so did their anticipation. The baby's kicks became stronger, filling their nights with laughter and amazement. Daniel spoke to the baby every evening, placing his hand on Adanna's stomach, whispering promises of love and protection. Friends and family threw a lavish baby shower, decorating the venue in soft pastels. Adanna was radiant as she opened gifts, surrounded by laughter and warmth. One evening, as they prepared the nursery, Daniel turned to Adanna. "Have you thought of any names?" She smiled, rubbing her belly. "I want something meaningful, something that reflects our journey." Daniel nodded. "Then we'll choose together, something perfect for our little one." As they put the finishing touches on the crib, they knew their greatest adventure was yet to come. The moment finally arrived on a cool Harmattan morning. Adanna woke up to sharp contractions, and Daniel rushed her to the hospital. The drive felt endless, but he held her hand, whispering words of encouragement. Hours later, after much effort and pain, the sound of a baby's first cry filled the delivery room. Tears streamed down Adanna's face as the nurse placed a tiny, wriggling bundle in her arms. "It's a girl," the doctor announced. Daniel exhaled a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. He leaned over and kissed Adanna's forehead. "She's beautiful, just like her mother." They named their daughter Amarachi, meaning a God's grace. Holding her in their arms, they knew their love had created something truly magical. Adjusting to life with a newborn was a whirlwind of sleepless nights and endless diaper changes. But amidst the exhaustion, there was overwhelming joy. Every coo, every tiny movement, and every sleepy smile made it all worthwhile. Daniel took his role as a father seriously, waking up in the middle of the night to rock Amarachi to sleep. Adanna marveled at how gentle and devoted he was. One night, as they sat together watching Amarachi sleep, Adanna sighed contentedly. "I never knew love could be this deep." Daniel smiled, wrapping an arm around her. "It's only the beginning, my love." Their little family was complete, and their journey together was only getting started. As the months passed, Amarachi grew into a bright and cheerful baby, filling their home with laughter. Adanna and Daniel balanced their careers and parenthood with love and dedication. One evening, as they celebrated Amarachi's first birthday with close family and friends, Adanna looked around their home, overwhelmed with gratitude. Daniel took her hand. "We've come so far." She smiled. "And there's still so much ahead." As they watched their daughter take her first steps, they knew their love story had created a future filled with promise, joy, and endless love. As Amarachi grew, so did Daniel and Adanna's aspirations. Adanna's boutique expanded beyond Lagos, gaining international recognition. Daniel's company secured partnerships that elevated their success to new heights. Despite their busy schedules, they made time for their little family. Weekend picnics at Lekki Conservation Center and bedtime stories became cherished routines. One evening, Daniel surprised Adanna with a key. "What's this?" she asked, curious. "Our dream home," he said with a grin. "A place for Amarachi to grow up, filled with love." Overwhelmed with joy, Adanna hugged him tightly. Their love had built something beautiful, and their journey was just beginning. Life was not without its challenges. A sudden economic downturn put Daniel's business at risk, forcing tough decisions. Adanna, too, faced setbacks when a shipment of fabrics for her boutique was delayed, affecting her clients. Through it all, they stood by each other. "We'll get through this," Adanna reassured Daniel one night as they sat together in their new home. And they did. With resilience, Daniel found innovative ways to sustain his company, and Adanna's loyal customers supported her through the rough patch. Their love and teamwork saw them through yet another storm. Years passed, and Amarachi blossomed into a smart, kind-hearted young girl. Watching her grow reminded Daniel and Adanna of how far they had come. One evening, as they sat on their veranda, Daniel took Adanna's hand. "I'd marry you all over again," he whispered. She smiled. "And I'd say yes 1,000 times." With the Lagos skyline before them, they knew their love story would forever be a testament to faith, resilience, and the power of love.